JBS. We're going to do a clutch mod on this 2015 Viking. If you don't know anything about us, that's what we originally done, was created the Rhino Sheave kit, clutch kit, and it's the best on the market, has been. And now we're even doing other stuff to our newer sheave. It's going to be our Hot Rod Extreme, and that's the one we're doing today. Going to put it in here and see what we end up with. And this video also worked for you guys that's doing your original hot rod sheave too, for the install. And a few of the tools you'll need is you need a 22 millimeter for your sheave, straight screwdriver. This is a pair of pliers I got that I found. They're Taiwan. I don't even know what they go to, but it was a real nice set of pliers for those clips. Makes it real easy. You'll need a 10 and a 12 millimeter socket. And then this is our new 700 Viking Sheave. And if you can see that we've milled the lip off of it here, and that's so the belt can drop down a little farther. On the Viking Sheave, the belt already rode down pretty close. On the Rhino, it had probably 3/8 of an inch. Less than half of that on the Viking. Same way for the top end. So we're looking for a lot better improvements with the lip removed. And another thing you'll need is the poly grease and the Yamaha Ultramatic. Do not use wheel bearing grease like some of the competitors say. It does not work right. These are the two greases that you need. And you'll choose your spring if you're ordering from my web, jbsperformance.com. If you're running 26s or 27s and you do a lot of mudding, you'll want to go with the purple. If you're running 28s or larger and mudding, you'll want to go with the gold. If you're running 28s and you do gravel road, then you'll want to do the purple. You want to back it down. If you do some gravel roads, you don't want your RPMs as high, so you want to back it down more. We're also going to install the KMS slug kit. This goes in the wet clutch, allows for earlier engagement, less slipping, creates less engine heat because the less friction. And these are our two anti-friction washers that we install underneath the spring. Alright, here's the overdrive weights that we'll be using, 18 gram. Here's the gasket that goes with the slugs. And that's about everything that you'll need to do the upgrade. And the install is not bad either. These two panels here will be the first two panels you take off. We'll get a 10 millimeter here. Those three. Then you got a couple of those clips. Sometimes you have to hold the outside lip while you're getting them out. You can't push in real hard as you're trying to turn the screw. That's the main problem, because the clip, you see how easy it goes in. You have to let the clip back out with minimal pressure on the screwdriver. One more. There's your first panel out of the way. Then there's a couple clips on this one. That one I had to push real easy. It didn't want to back out at all. This one's the outside spinning, like I was saying. You just have to hold the outside edge with your finger. Once you get them started, you can actually just pull them out like a push in. There's that. Then you need a 12. There's your couple panels. Now we're into the CVT duct, and have to pop these couple clamps right here, couple clips right there, Phillips. All right, got a Phillips here. Back these clamps out. There's that. We got a couple more clips up here. This one's spinning too. You just gotta hold that outside lip. One more hose clamp here. I think it's clips can be a little bit of a pain. This one's being a son of a bitch. Some of them are. Some of them just don't want to back out. What you got to do is go in the back side and find the clip and push the screw through. Here's that other one. Combination for that. Another clip. There's the other tube. Alright, now we're in here to the clutch. A few more screws and we'll be in. These are 10 millimeter. Screw for get where it's at. Milwaukee ratchets are the ticket for getting in tight spots and getting the job done. Alright, there's a clamp with this hose in on the bottom. Get the hose popped out of the cover. Here we are into the clutch. This is your primary, this is your secondary. And you can see where the belt's riding at right now. It's about flush with the secondary. And you can see the shiny part on the fixed. And what we're going to do is we're going to use up all the rest of the sheave. We're going to add where the belt can come up to the top, and we're going to move it farther towards the bottom. We'll get this popped off here too. Man. I don't think those are 7.2. That's tight. Wow. Now these are supposed to be 7.2 foot-pounds. Alright. When you take these off, if your screws fall out, you got a long one and a shorter one. The long ones go at 7 and 1. And it's also the ones with your dowel pins in it. The longer screws go in the dowel pins. Alright, now here we are into the sheave. That's where you need your 22 millimeter. Hold the sheave so it don't turn. Well, this one's on there, we're going to have to get air. Cordless won't bring it off. 180 pounds and a half-inch cordless snap-on wheel. Let me open the valve. Alright. Now we got some horsepower. About like a built Rhino from JVS Performance. There's the difference. Alright, show you something else. If you can imagine on a bicycle and this is your sprockets, and you move that sprocket a little bit on the bottom, then you gain a lot when you of gearing on the bottom end just by moving that belt that little bit. And I'll show you the difference here in our new one. That lip right there. Now the belt can ride down, instead of hitting that lip, it can actually ride past that lip just a tad and give you extra gearing. That's what we're going for. We're getting ready to see here in a minute what kind of changes that it's going to make. We'll be able to tell by how far the belt sticks out of the secondary. Always make sure you hold good pressure. That's why I'm tilting it up on the end every time, to make sure that I'm holding plenty of pressure on the screw. Don't want to be rounding out the heads of them. And a quality screwdriver will hold on to the screw too. Like, that's in there. That's snapping. Alright, now we need a big screwdriver. Grab one. You want to walk this piece off. Just do it a little bit on each time. Don't try to push it all off the first push. This bike only has 85 miles on it, so the sheave and grease is like brand new. There's the round weights versus the Dr. Pulley overdrive weights. This is Dr. Pulley overdrive weights versus the stock. These allow for 8 to 10 more mile per hour on the Rhino. Not for sure on the Viking yet, but we're going to be finding out here shortly. Alright, what you want to do with your grease Ultramatic and your poly, if you can see inside the sheave here, you have this about an inch wide section right there that's milled, and it's about an 1/8 inch deep. That has to be all the way full of this poly grease, or when it moves in and out on this collar, it will seize and wear. I see a lot of guys put new sheaves on and they do not grease this in here, and it's not going to last no time. 100 miles, it's already wore way more than it would if it had 5,000 miles on it if it was greased. So it's very important to have that greased and full. You want it full. Put plenty in, because then the collar you can shove the extra through out the back. You want to make sure that you this extra here. And make sure that you got the face around this part right here clean. And keep it clean. Alright, now for how much grease on the weights. And I know there's been a bunch of discussions on it. You don't want to use a little bit of grease, because the dust to grease ratio is the dust overtakes the grease early, and then it works just like sandpaper and chews the sheave up. 12,000 miles on our Rhino, testing different setups, and this is the best performance. You can shove it down in there real hard, and that way when everything squeezes out and you go around, you add some to the top, want the top covered, then you can see that this one has a little less than that one. You can add to it, get it about the same for each one. Like I said, you do not want to use wheel bearing grease. People who say that haven't done very much testing. It does matter. And that's why our bike will run with the big bore bikes in the 0 to 60. It'll hang right with them. Alright. So there you got your weights greased. And I usually put it around the cam plate slider like that, so it's around the back side. I'm just going to use this grease here. I would add Ultramatic, and this is the same. It's 75, 80 miles. Ain't nothing wrong with it. All right. You want to put the collar, you want to take the collar out and put it on the bike, because if you set it down and pushes that cam plate back up, the weights have the grease on it and they'll stick to the cam plate and flop them over before you even know it. And the jaw will already be wrong. Alright, before the sheave, we'll go ahead and stick this O-ring on here. Before the sheave can go back on, I'm gonna have to take a pick and line the screw holes up a little bit. But you'll want to take one of your long bolts, put it in the secondary. And what this does, this will open up the secondary, let the belt drop down in there so you can make sure that the cam plate gets on the spline. You can see the sheave opening and the belt dropping down in there. Get it about a ½ inch, 3/4 of an inch down there. Now we have play right here to where we can install the sheave without any problem getting it on the splines, and that's very crucial. If you don't get it on the splines, it's going to cost you a couple $100 in repairs, plus the time. Alright. Get all these screws back in. I centered it up with that drill bit. And you can see in this sheave too, there's about 3/16 of an inch of grease. When that's all slung to the outside, that is the proper amount right there. Yamaha knew what they was talking about when they put that grease in there. And on this, you don't want to use an impact because you don't want to strip them out when they get tight. So what I like using is a drill that has a setting, and that way you can put it to where the bit stops instead of stripping the screw out. And you can hear it clutch. want to check it by hand. Once you run it down with the cordless set, then you want to take your hand screwdriver. You just want to make sure they're snug. You know, you don't want to over tighten them and squeeze the washers out, but you just want to make sure they're snug. I had mine on setting 5, probably could have put it on 6 and they'd all been fine, but and Chris, the guy that loaned it to me, can see I double checked all his screws too. Alright, so we have all that together. Probably want to take a fresh paper towel, a little bit of alcohol. Moonshine will work too. Wipe off that face just to make sure. Wipe off your fingers. Alright, now we're ready to install. Alright, on this one, instead of going back with the sheave here, we're going to tear on into it and put a slug kit in the wet clutch. And what that does is allows for earlier engagement, less slipping of the clutch. Say it normally this wet clutch would lock up at 9 to 10 mile an hour. After the slug kit and the sheaves will be fully engaged with the wet clutch locked up at 2 to 3 mile an hour. Big difference, feel more like direct drive. But when you install the wet clutch slugs, the oil has to be drained. You'll need a 17 millimeter and pop the drain plug out of it here. You can see it right underneath the clutch housing right here to watch what you're doing. Be good for this one anyway, 85 miles on it. I usually like to change the first oil change at 100 miles. Alright, now that we got the oil draining out of it, we're going to pop the secondary sheave off. Collar and you're fixed. Let's see. Cover off. Now you'll need a 8 millimeter. And this is your wet clutch drum here sticking out. You'll have a little bit of oil to run out there. I'll get a couple of paper towels so don't make a mess. May have to get a screwdriver. To break the seal on the gasket. Find somewhere to get in there. A little tight. And I'm really surprised for 85 miles, this has some little bit of rings to it. There's the one-way bearing. We'll have to clean up this gasket surface before it goes back together. That's a little bit of a time consuming. Now there's your wet clutch, and we have to pull it out. You gotta get the socket for it. Alright, got an 1.1 inch socket here. On the see if I can use that cordless. Thing's got a lot of power. That is a left-handed thread. You see I tightened it up to take it off, so that's a left-handed thread. Now get a couple screwdrivers. A couple pairs of pliers to squeeze the clutch. You don't have to squeeze it a lot, just a little bit. Alright, once you've squeezed it, you can walk these clips off. See. Ah. All right. Pull your top plate, and then your spring, and then your base there. It's your KMS slug kit. I use his kit because he's the one that came up with it quite a few years ago, and it was a good idea. I know a couple other companies seen him doing it and they make their own, but I buy them from him. Like I said, he's the one that made them originally. It was a good idea. It's from KMS. Drop them right down in the clutch. Give them a little tap. They usually fit just like that, perfect. Then you want to put your base plate back on here, and your spring. Yep. Go right back together. It's not really that big a job. Like I said, the biggest part of it's cleaning the gasket off of both surfaces. It takes just as long. Always make sure your clips are on there good and lined up. Always run Yamaha oil. Save your wet clutch. Alright, that's how to slug the wet clutch right there. Alright, now we're ready to go back on. Before we put it back on, it's a lot easier to clean that gasket off before you put it on. So what we'll do is we'll clean the gasket off of both surfaces first, and then we'll get back with you on the install as soon as we clean the gaskets up. Alright, I'm going to pull out the dowel pins. This is what aligns the cover. Then take your razor blade. Trim off all the extra gasket. This is a little bit of a time-consuming job. You want to do it good. You don't want no leaks. Nowhere on a motor is a place to cut corners. When we go out to ride, I want to make sure my bike gets us back home and ready for the next ride. You can also back drag it like that. That's what I was doing there, is just taking the razor blade and dragging it. Cut off the thick and back drag the thin stuff off. The hotter a motor has been, or if it's been overheated a few times, the harder it is to get the gasket off. You know, this one's pretty new and it's not being that tough, but I have seen them that the gasket was like concrete. Not good. You're getting real close on this half. You got to clean both halves. And you don't want to use any air tools and mess up this surface. The flat, you want it to be flat just like it was. I think it's looking pretty good there. Get out all the gasket material. Put your dowel pins back in. That's what aligns the cover. Alright. Let these screws drop out of here. Gasket on here. Just about got it. This definitely takes longer than slugging the wet clutch. Now I've got it down here to whack and back drag it and get those last few pieces off. Alright, we got the gasket cleaned off, ready for our install. Get the gasket. We need to put the wet clutch on first. Alright. On the wet clutch nut, you have to use red Loctite. If not, it will cost you. Don't matter if you turn that little piece in or not, it will come off. And remember, this is left-handed thread, so you gotta turn it backwards to go on. And take your hammer, Put that back in there. Now you're ready for your gasket. And your dowel pins will hold it on for you. And dead in line. So you got your clutch on, your nuts on there and tight, your Loctite. Same way for these screws, if you can see here, you got two long ones out of the group. That's your two on your dowel pins. Same way on the whole motor, dowel pins are always your long ones. And you can always check by sticking them in the hole too. They'll always be sticking out about 3/8 of an inch when it's in the right hole. These are 7.2 foot-pounds when you're torquing them. There's 7. I had a lot of them real close, but that's 7.2 on each one of them. Now we want to put the drain plug back in. Alright, you want to get your drain plug started back in there. And it torques at 22 foot-pounds. You definitely don't want a stripped out drain plug. Make sure it's still on. Yep, that's 21.2. I knew I was getting close. There it is. 22. that back in, we can go back on with our cover. I'm going to make sure and check the gasket like this to make sure it's still on there properly, because they do stick when you pull them off. So you want to make sure this is back on right, that you get a good quality job. These are also 7.2. Get my extension. Always get them all started before you tighten in. Get the torque wrench and check these just to make sure they're all good. They're turning about a 1/16 of a turn. That one's a little bit more. I've gotten used to that little Milwaukee at what speed to turn them in at. Gets them real close. Alright, there's all those are torqued. Now, we're ready to go back with the secondary. Well, we got to put on the fix first. Get it on the splines. Collar back on. Now we're ready for the sheave. This is the Hot Rod Extreme Sheave from JVSperformance.com. Alright, you want to hold the cam plate tight. Roll it around, wiggle it back and forth, but don't let loose of the cam plate until the splines are sticking out right there, and you can see them sticking out. Then the washer go up on. That tight. Now you're ready to take the bolt out of the secondary to let the belt come back. After you do that, have to put the bike in neutral. We're going to roll this to get the And that's what we was looking for. We was looking to get that belt up out of the secondary for a lower gearing. So we're definitely getting what we was looking for. Never run these bikes without the cage. A lot of guys put their clutches together and they go to running it, and this shaft and this pressure, this right here, sets and wobbles and actually shakes the drum against the wet clutch. And if you put it in gear without this on, the bike will actually move. That's how far out of the line it gets. So you never want to run it without the cage on it. These are also 7.2 foot-pounds. That is foot-pounds, not inch-pounds. Got it on 7. All right. Now we just need to add a little over 2 quarts of oil and get these covers back on, and we'll be ready for a test ride. But I have noticed that this is definitely where we want the belt riding. So I'm real happy with what I'm seeing so far. Now we'll put it all back together and go for a test ride tomorrow to see where we're at. Hey, I'm James from JBS. We got this 2015 Viking in here that we got to do our famous hot rod sheave upgrade. And this is even our newest sheave, the Extreme Hot Rod Extreme. This is Chris, the guy brought it over, he wanted to go a little faster. It would do 49 when he got it, and we put our kit in there and we got it to 55. We also added the slug kit for a quicker engagement. It's still smooth when it engages, but for the hills and the pulling, the extra weight, bigger tires, you don't want that clutch slipping and going out prematurely from adding weight and the tires. Yamaha designed that clutch for that weight, and then when you add weight, it definitely adds more strain. We went out, we hit the trails, we tested hills, downhill, engine braking, 30 miles in the woods there, good little test on it, and we always keep testing. We'll keep doing some more testing, but this is definitely the best sheave kit we've had by far. I think you guys will be really impressed with the results. Competition definitely is way below this here for sure. And check us out at jbsperformance.com. You can also check out our forum, hotrodforums.net. Good place to get information and share information. And all of our new products are on there. And you can also win stuff on our forum. We give a lot of stuff away every month. We have a giveaway. Check us out on there. Definitely if you got a Viking and you're looking to go faster and you want quality and performance, check out JBS Performance. We're out today to test the new Hot Rod Extreme Sheave. This 2015 Viking would do 49 stock, and we're getting ready to make a run and see what it'll do with the new clutch in it. This is no CDI box yet. Viking's been 55 yet with no CDI box. Others may claim it, but there it is on video. I want to see the video. Anybody else that has it. Weights with the stock spring. It's real rider friendly. The RPMs aren't up real high. Still plenty of power. But I think with 27s, if you're a mudder, we'll definitely probably be going with 16s. We're going to take it back, put some 16s in it, and we'll run another test. But 18 gram, no spring with 27s is a great overall setup. Huge improvement over stock. Go right here and we'll do a little uphill testing now. West Virginia, you got the mountains. You better be able to have some speed up hills.